It's a Tuesday morning, and you're doing the same thing you do every day. You scoop the litter box, half holding your breath, half thinking about your coffee. And then something makes you pause. Maybe it's the color, maybe it's the shape, maybe it's the fact that there's less than usual, or more, or none at all. You stand there for a second, scoop suspended in midair, and you think, is that normal? Then you shrug, you tie the bag, and you move on with your day. That tiny moment, that half second of hesitation over the litter box, is one of the most overlooked pieces of information in the entire world of cat care. Because your cat, who spends most of her life hiding how she really feels, is quietly leaving you a daily report card. And most of us are throwing it in the trash before we've even read it. Before we go any further, I want to be upfront with you. Everything I share here is general pet wellness information for educational purposes only. I'm not a veterinarian. This isn't veterinary advice, and it's not a substitute for taking your cat to your own vet. If anything in this video sounds like what your cat has been showing you lately, please take that as a reason to book an appointment, not as a reason to diagnose at home. Okay? Good. Let's keep going. Because there are 7 specific things hiding in that litter box. 7 signals cats have been using for thousands of years to say, something is shifting inside me. And once you can read them, you stop being a cat owner who just cleans up after her cat. You become a cat owner who is actually listening. Here's what almost every cat owner believes. Poop is poop. As long as she's eating, drinking, and purring on the couch, whatever ends up in the box is just a nuisance to be handled and forgotten. The scoop, the seal, the toss. Done. And this belief is completely understandable. Cats are famously stoic. They descend from solitary hunters, animals that evolved in a world where showing weakness attracted predators. So your indoor cat, curled up on a heated blanket in your apartment, is still carrying that ancient wiring. She will hide pain. She will hide nausea. She will hide the slow, quiet beginning of almost every internal issue for as long as she possibly can. The Cornell Feline Health Center has written extensively about this instinct to mask discomfort, and it's one of the reasons cats are often diagnosed later in the progression of many conditions than dogs are, not because their owners don't care, but because their owners weren't given the map. So while your cat is smiling on the outside, purring at dinner time, doing her little zoomies at 2 a.m., the one place she cannot fully hide what's happening inside her body is the litter box. What comes out is a direct, physical readout of what's going in, how it's being processed, and how her gut, kidneys, and pancreas are handling the workload. And that's where the assumption cracks open. Because the truth is, most of the earliest warning signs of feline illness don't show up in her behavior first. They show up in her litter box first. Days, sometimes weeks, before anything else changes. Let's start peeling back what's actually in there. There are 7 specific things worth watching for, and I'll walk you through each one gently, not to scare you. To equip you, the first is color. Healthy cat stool tends to sit in a medium to dark brown range. That color comes from bile, a substance the liver produces to help digest fats. When the color shifts dramatically, it's often the digestive system telling a story. Very pale, clay-colored stool can be associated with issues involving the liver, gallbladder, or pancreas. Black terry stool can suggest digested blood from higher up in the digestive tract. Fresh red streaks usually point to something lower down, closer to the exit. And a greenish tint sometimes appears when food is moving through the gut faster than it should. Notice I'm saying associated with, and sometimes. I'm not diagnosing your cat. I'm giving you the vocabulary to describe what you see. If you're seeing any of these color shifts more than once, that's worth mentioning to your vet at your next visit, even if your cat seems otherwise fine. The second is consistency. Veterinarians often use something called a fecal scoring chart, a scale from 1 to 7, where 1 is dry and pebble-like and 7 is essentially liquid. What you're looking for at home is usually something around 2 or 3. Firm enough to hold its shape when you scoop it, soft enough that it doesn't look like a row of little rocks. When stool trends toward the hard, pebbly end of the scale, that can be an early whisper of dehydration or slowed motility. When it trends toward the loose, unformed end, the gut is often irritated, inflamed, or reacting to something in the diet or environment. The third is frequency. Most healthy adult cats produce stool once a day, sometimes twice. Straining in the box, going 3, 4, 5 times a day, or going less than every other day are all patterns worth writing down. And I mean actually writing down. Because when you get to the vet, she seems off is much less useful than she's gone twice in 6 days and each time she was in the box for 4 minutes. International Cat Care and the American Association of Feline Practitioners both emphasize how valuable this kind of specific home observation is for feline exams. You are the eyes and ears. You see things a 15-minute appointment simply cannot. Now here's where it gets interesting, and this is really the heart of why so many cats suffer quietly for so long. The fourth thing to watch is size and volume. A sudden decrease in the amount of stool your cat is producing, even if she's still eating normally, can mean her body isn't absorbing nutrients the way it should, or that food is moving through her differently than before. On the other side, unusually large or bulky stool can suggest that a lot of what she's eating is passing through undigested. Neither is an emergency on its own. Both are data points. The fifth is smell. All cat poop smells. That's not the signal. The signal is a sudden, sharp change in odor. When healthy gut bacteria shift, when there's malabsorption, or when there's blood present higher up in the digestive tract, the smell can change noticeably. Your nose knows your cat's baseline. Trust it. The sixth is what's mixed into the stool. Mucus, which looks like a slimy coating. Undigested food. Small foreign objects like bits of string or plastic that one especially deserves urgent attention because linear foreign bodies in cats can be genuinely serious. And of course, worms or anything resembling small grains of rice near the tail area, which can be signs of parasites the Cornell Feline Health Center notes are surprisingly common even in indoor-only cats. The seventh is the one most owners miss entirely. It isn't in the stool. It's around it. It's the behavior at the box. Is your cat entering the box, then leaving without going? Is she vocalizing while she squats? Is she posturing to defecate somewhere else in the house, on a bath mat in a corner? Is she suddenly perching only halfway inside the box? Behavior around elimination is often the very first thing to change when something is bothering a cat. And the American Association of Feline Practitioners specifically flags box avoidance and posture changes as clinically significant signs. So why is all of this hidden? Why don't more of us learn to read this earlier? Part of it is cultural. Poop is uncomfortable to talk about. Part of it is practical. Automatic litter boxes and lightly scented crystal litters are wonderful for our noses, but terrible for our observation. If the box scoops itself and the clumps disappear before we ever see them, we lose the daily readout. And part of it is simply that no one taught us this was information. We were told to feed her, love her, take her to the vet once a year, and that's it. But between those vet visits are 364 days of quiet signals, and only one of us is home to see them. Only a qualified veterinarian can tell you what's actually happening inside your specific cat's body. Your job isn't to diagnose. Your job is to notice, to document, and to bring what you saw into that appointment. So here's how you rewrite the outcome starting today. Once a week, take a real, honest look. You don't need to inspect every single deposit, but make one moment in your week. Sunday morning is a good anchor, where you slow down for 10 seconds at the box and just observe. Color, consistency, size, anything mixed in. That's it. 10 seconds. Over time, your brain will start building a baseline for what normal looks like for your specific cat, And the moment something drifts, you'll feel it before you can even name it. If you have multiple cats, this gets trickier because the box isn't labeled. 2 low-cost strategies help enormously. First, give each cat their own box, plus 1 extra. The general guideline from feline behavior specialists is 1 box per cat plus 1, placed in different rooms. Second, if you're trying to figure out which cat is producing which stool, you can ask your vet about safe food safe tracers or simply feed the cats in separate rooms so their outputs stay separated in your head. Take a photo when something looks off. This one feels weird the first time you do it, and then it becomes second nature. A picture, with the date, is one of the single most useful things you can bring to a vet appointment. It removes guesswork. It replaces, "I think it looked kind of dark," with concrete evidence your vet can actually work with. And keep a small note somewhere, in your phone, on the fridge, wherever, of anything that seemed unusual in the last 2 weeks. Frequency changes, straining, a color shift, a smell shift, a behavior shift at the box. If you notice a pattern building over more than a couple of days, that's your cue. Not to panic, not to Google yourself into a spiral, but to call your vet and describe what you've been documenting. Persistent changes in litter box output always deserve a professional set of eyes, because early conversations are so much easier for you, for your wallet, and most importantly for your cat, than late ones. Here's what I hope you walk away from this understanding, beyond just the 7 signals. Modern cat ownership is quietly changing. A generation ago, cats mostly lived shorter lives, roamed outside, and hid their symptoms until they simply disappeared to be alone. Today's indoor cats can live 16, 8, and even 20 years, and that longevity gives us the extraordinary privilege of catching things early, of intervening gently, of trading a few $100s of preventive care for what could otherwise become thousands of dollars of emergency care later. But that privilege only works if we're paying attention to the daily data our cats are already giving us. The litter box isn't a chore, it's a diary. And your cat has been writing in it every single day of her life, hoping someone would eventually learn to read the handwriting. You just learned. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between an owner who reacts and an owner who partners with her vet. That's the difference between finding out at year 12 that something has been quietly progressing for years and catching it at year 6 when a simple change in diet or a single conversation with your vet can shift the entire trajectory of your cat's life. So the next time you scoop and you feel that little half-second pause, that instinct that says, is that normal? I want you to honor it. Don't shrug it off. Snap a photo, write it down. And if the pattern keeps repeating, pick up the phone. If this way of noticing your cat resonated with you, tell me in the comments. What's one thing your cat does at the litter box that you've always secretly wondered about? I read them, and future videos are built directly from your questions. And if you'd like more quiet, honest walkthroughs like this one, no fear, no fluff, just the small things that help you love your cat better, the subscribe button is where that story continues. And as always, your vet knows your cat best. This video is awareness, not diagnosis. Take good care of your little one.